Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you clicked on this video, then you might be thinking about making a major career change. And today in this video, I want to share with you one thing that is extremely important for you to do if you are serious about making this work. You might be thinking about going into a different industry and completely changing your profession, or maybe you want to go into entrepreneurship or becoming a full-time freelancer. Or maybe you've even just arrived at a point in time in your career where you're just so fed up that you're thinking, I just want to do anything, just anything else other than what I'm doing now. But if you're currently working full-time, then it can be extremely difficult to find the time and especially the energy to even think about a career change and finding the time to plan it through. And that is completely normal. I actually went through that kind of situation myself. I was working full-time at a multinational bank, and at that time I was already working for 5 years. So long story short, after going through a lot of things and a lot of contemplation, I finally decided to leave my banking career to work in the entertainment industry. And my friends and my parents, and I think especially my boss, they couldn't be more surprised about my decision. And after a few more years of really hard work, I finally managed to produce 2 feature films and also acted in a few films. And looking back, I think that was one of the best decisions that I made in my life. And I was also thinking, what was actually the turning point? I mean, what was it that gave me the certainty to leave my job, my career in banking, to pursue something that was so uncertain, such as acting and filmmaking? I mean, I always knew that I had a very strong interest in acting, and I also did some acting in high school, and I read a lot about it, but it was always something that was so abstract. I mean, I could never imagine how it would be like to act in a film. And it wasn't until I signed up for an acting course and got involved in acting in film projects that I really knew that this was what I really wanted to do. The thing is that you can read and talk about something very intensely, and you can imagine about how a certain career could be. But as long as you don't have any hands-on experience doing something that is at least a bit related to the career that you want to pursue, it's just something that's in your head, and it's something that is abstract. So in the beginning, I felt that it was so far-fetched to go from banking to acting, and I was really lost at the beginning, and I didn't know how to go about it. But the moment that I signed up for the acting class and I got involved and I was really hands-on doing it, things started to take shape, and I could for the first time start to see clearly how it would be to actually work in the entertainment industry. And this brings me to what I wanted to share with you today. The one thing that is extremely important if you want to make your career change work, and that is to get hands-on experience, to get yourself involved in some kind of activity that brings you closer to the career that you want to pursue. And ideally, this is something that you commit to in form of signing up for a course or paying for a course or joining a community, something that can hold you accountable to regularly participate in the activity or event and constantly make progress on that. So I signed up for an acting class at NYU Tisch, and it was held once a week. I think it was every Wednesday from 7:30 to 11 p.m. And on some days I would be so tired because I just finished work and there were so many deadlines. I was so stressed, but I had to make sure that I got out of the office at 6:45 in order not to be late for acting class. But it didn't matter, because once I arrived there and I started acting scenes with my scene partners, I enjoyed it so much so I forgot all about being tired. And I think this is what's so important about joining an activity or getting involved in something that is related to the career you want to pursue, because that becomes a very good indicator to see if you are actually really that passionate about that thing, and if you really want to pursue that career, or if it's just something that sounds great in your head. If you're thinking about becoming a photographer, then try to find clients you can actually offer your services to. Or if you're thinking about becoming a psychiatrist, then why not sign up for a Coursera course where you have to commit to and actually work on assignments and submit them. Whatever that is, it should be something that is firm enough and fixed enough so that you cannot bail out easily. Once I joined these acting classes, then one thing really quickly led to the other. Some students from the NYU Tisch film program invited me to auditions, and I acted in some of their student films. I also built up the confidence to set up my online actors profile, which led to some directors and producers contacting me to act in their independent films. And then a lot of other things happened, which finally led me to producing 2 feature films in which I also acted. Of course, joining these acting classes were not the only thing that finally enabled me to leave my banking career, but I would say that had I not joined these classes, I would not have the courage or maybe that frame of mind to make that decision in the first place. So right now, if you are thinking of completely changing your career, of course you could theoretically just leave your job and then figure it out, but of course that is extremely risky. If you want to make it work, then your best chance is to get yourself involved in an activity related to the career that you want to pursue now while you are still working in your old job. So no matter how busy or how tired or how stressed you are in your current job, you need to try to carve out some time every week and dedicate that time to join some activity that brings you closer to the career that you want to pursue. Treat it like a weekly appointment or meeting that you will attend no matter how tired you are. And the easiest way to stay on track is to just sign up for a course or join a community that can hold you accountable. I know that it can be extremely hard. It is very difficult to juggle your job and your career change plans at the same time. But you have to do it. If you think that changing your career is something that is really important to you in the long term, you really have to take action now. If you don't take action, then chances are that nothing will change and everything will stay the same as it is now. I have this one relative in my family. She's now about 65 years old, and every time I meet her, she always expresses this deep regret. She always says that if she could go back in time, she would study something completely different, and instead of building bridges, she would rather work in another industry. And I think listening to this is something that is very sad, and I would never want anyone to have to go through that kind of experience. But the fact is that indeed many people do, because they don't have the courage, or they don't take the time, or they don't make the sacrifice to make it happen. So think about that and try to do one thing today, one tiny little thing, no matter what that is, even though it's as simple as just browsing the internet and looking up a course that you might want to join. One little thing that brings you a tiny bit closer to the career that you want. I really hope that the experiences I shared today were useful to you and gave you some insights about career change. If you want to get weekly videos related to career change, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And also remember that every long journey begins with a single step. So I wish you all the best, and again, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.